All right, now we are officially a quarter of the way through the NFL season, and I figure it is time to do a NFL quarter season review video where we go over the division leaders, the biggest surprises, whether they're good surprises or bad surprises, and some quarter season awards that I would give out should the season have ended in week 4. But let's go over some of these division leaders. In the AFC, we have in the AFC East, we have the shock team of the Miami Dolphins leading the AFC East with a 3-1 record. Though this is surprising, I think this is a brief perch atop the AFC East. It's early in the season, blah 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 blah. But if the season were to have ended today, the Dolphins would win the AFC East, and that hurts me to say because they're one of the worst teams in my opinion in football. They're very lucky to have this record, but for now they are in first place in the AFC East. And in second place, we have one of the best surprises of the season that I will talk about later in the Kansas City Chiefs being 4-0, leading their division and looking entirely unstoppable to this point of this season. They're a fun team. I think they're going to have a lot of trouble being beaten. We'll see this game that they have coming this week against, I believe, the Jacksonville Jaguars. So let's see what they do, and let's see if they can hold on to this early season lead as we go forward. We look at the Cincinnati Bengals and Baltimore Ravens. Both teams are in first place in the AFC North. I think the Bengals might be ahead of them. I'm not 100%, or I think the Ravens are because of a division win. So I think we could actually put the Ravens in first, but I don't know. It's messy. They have the same record. It's early. Who cares? They're both 3-1. They both look a lot very good this season. Both are very surprising 3-1 teams in my opinion. Not a lot of people would have projected either of these two teams to be leading, just like the Dolphins and the 3-1 Tennessee Titans, who are in first place in the AFC South. There are three really surprised teams in the AFC conference this year, leading their divisions in teams like Miami, Kansas, Cincinnati, and Tennessee. These are teams that seemed like they might have struggled due to the preseason and off seasons that they had, especially Tennessee with the new offense and Mariota struggling early. They're still out to a 3-1 start. The Bengals are out to a 3-1 start. The Dolphins are somehow out to a 3-1 start. These are teams that you wouldn't have seen leading the division a quarter of the way through the season, and that is why football, to me, is one of the best sports, professional sports that there is, because of the fact that there still is a balance in this game. One team can be bad one year, and then they can be great the next. That is why football beats baseball, beats hockey, beats basketball, especially basketball, because there aren't super teams. There's the Rams, but that's a whole different story. Let's go over the NFC squads. Now that good segue actually. Let's talk about the Washington Redskins. Fresh off a bye week, they are 2-1 and leading the NFC East in one of the also biggest surprises. Is one of the good surprises this year. So we'll talk about those later on, along with the Chiefs. They are 2-1. Alex Smith and Adrian Peterson are leading the fucking team still. I don't know how they're still playing football at their advanced ages, even though Smith's the same age as Aaron Rodgers, so he's not that old, but whatever. Yeah, the Redskins are 2-1, even though the Cowboys are breathing hot down their throat. They're leading the division right now. Good for the Redskins. The Los Angeles Rams, the other super team in the NFL. Not really any surprise from this team. You knew when you seen that team on paper it was going to be great. You knew what it was going to be when you came into the season. Um, yeah, it's just what it is. But the Rams are also part of the bad surprises because I actually have some things to say about the situation around the Rams, especially the Western Conference in the NFC. What in the hell is going on out there? And down in the South, too, with the fucking Saints Conference. Everybody stinks down there. All right, and then we also have the Chicago Bears, who are the other good surprise of the year, being 3-1 on a super strong defense, leading the NFC North, a division with the Packers, Vikings, and Lions that was projected to be a hard-nosed division. The Bears stand at 3-1 alone atop. That's crazy. The NFC is just as crazy to me as the AFC, and if you would have told me these any of these 8 teams outside of Kansas City and the Rams. Actually, that's the only team. Maybe the Saints. If you would have told me any teams outside the Rams and Saints would be in first place through a quarter of the season, I would call you a liar because you would not have predicted the Bears to be 3-1. You would not have predicted the Redskins to be 2-1 and in first place in the NFC East. You would not have projected the Titans to be 3-1 in first place over the Jaguars because that's who they beat. You and the Ravens and Bengals, you'd be a goddamn psychic. The Chiefs and the Dolphins, like the Dolphins, You were told something that you can see into the future if you thought they'd be leading the AFC East. All right, these are the division leaders a quarter of the way through the season. 4 games tends to change a lot of things in the NFL, as that'll be another quarter and halfway through the season. So remember how this looks now. I bet you it's dramatically different. I think we'll see a different team name like the Patriots, where the Dolphins are. We'll see a solid AFC North contender. I don't think the Titans will be on here. I don't think the Redskins will be on here, nor the Bears. But we'll see going forward. Let's go over the AFC MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and Rookie of the Year. I should have wrote quarter, but I'm just too fucking lazy. AFC Offensive MVP and Offensive Player of the Year, or Quarter of the Year. I put an asterisk if it's multiple awards, so I'm giving him the 2 awards. Kansas City's Patrick Mahomes, obviously, because look at these numbers through just 4 games. He's 90 of 138 for 65.2% completion percentage. He's thrown for an even 1,200 yards, 300 yards a game, 14 touchdowns to 0 interceptions at a 126.5 QBR in just his first year as a starter, second year in the league. He broke Peyton Manning's records through the first to have 10 touchdowns to 2 games. He's breaking all sorts of like early season passing records for a young quarterback. That's super impressive. His offense is super unstoppable. They're fast. They're fun to watch. Mahomes, they're winning games on Mahomes with the left-handed underthrow. He led that comeback. He's not just blowing teams out. He's able to come back against really strong defenses like the Denver Broncos. He's showing that he is potentially the next version of the NFL quarterback, someone who can move, someone who has a cannon arm. He is redefining what it means to take a system quarterback from a college and gamble, let him learn, and see what he can do in the NFL. And look what the hell a system quarterback is doing right now. This probably won't change for most of the season should Patrick keep this rate up. This is everything you hope for as a football fan, is a player like Patrick Mahomes to show up in the NFL, live up to the hype that he had coming into this season. He's blown past the expectations he had for this year, in my opinion. He could throw 6 more touchdowns and it would still be a successful year. Like, most quarterbacks don't get these numbers in their career, 14, 1,200. Like, it's a good year. I don't care what anyone says. This is a great year, regardless of how it finishes out for Mr. Mahomes. Flashes of fucking absolute brilliance. And right now, he's my pick for the MVP of the year, or of the quarter, and the Offensive Player of the quarter. Nobody's been better than him in the AFC on offense. The complete weapon, Patrick Mahomes. The defense. A little bit of a shocking pick by me. I hate the Indianapolis Colts. I hate everything about them. But when you're considering defense, it's the obvious pick is to go Von Miller. That was actually my first pick. I just put Von Miller there. But then I realized, like, this guy is having one hell of a year. He has the same amount of sacks as Von. He's got far more. He has 16 assisted tackles, total tackles 38, for a combined of 54 tackles this year. That's a lot of tackles for a rookie linebacker. Remember, he's a rookie. This is probably me just being weird and not liking the Broncos team. I really dislike the Denver Broncos, specifically Von Miller. So it's really hard. But he's also got 4 sacks, 34 yards. These are the 4 and 34 is higher than Von Miller's. He has more passes deflected than Von. And he's, I think, caused the same amount of fumbles. This could have gone to a number of other players. I realize it should. There's a Jets cornerback that has a little bit better. Like, he's got a couple interceptions, blah blah blah. And Darius probably will not win this award, but he will be in contention for it for a while going forward. He's played great football. He's the heart and soul already of this Colts defense that is not that great, but he can't do everything. And that's also why I'm saying he should be the AFC's Rookie of the Year. Again, same numbers. If you look at all the rookies in the AFC, not one of them is performing quite to the level of Darius Leonard right now. He is playing. You wouldn't have guessed he's a rookie. Like, if you didn't know he just got drafted or aren't a fan of the college football and the draft, and you just watch football and you watch Darius Leonard play, you wouldn't know he's a rookie. So that's why players like that, players who are performing at he's playing like the best linebacker in the AFC. I mean, if you look up his numbers are literally the best linebacker numbers in the AFC with like I think Vaughn's excuse me, sorry. I think Vaughn is technically a linebacker, so his numbers are technically a little bit better than Vaughn's, in my humble opinion. Whatever. But these are my picks for the AFC offensive. It's pretty much I just gave them to two guys. It's Mahomes and Leonard won all the awards for me. Um, the biggest surprise in the American Football Conference, the AFC, is 150% the Chiefs. Obviously, that is my best surprise of the AFC this year right now is the Kansas City Chiefs are playing absolutely out of their mind. That's all I really got to say. Everybody knows. I mean, what else can I say? They're 4-0, high-powered offense. The college Andy Reid offense is finally working. Reid's finally got everything he wants. Hopefully, they can avoid being a typical Andy Reid team and the bottom falling out and they'd finish terribly. But right now, they are the biggest surprise in the AFC. I don't think anyone projected them to be 4-0 to start the year and look like look like the team that the Rams are going to have to deal with when they eventually get to the Super Bowl. But there are also a lot of bad surprises in the AFC this year. Let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's talk about the state of the AFC West. No, the AFC West is alright. Let's talk about the state of the Patriots. I mean, they and the Steelers and the Patriots. What the hell is going on in New England this first quarter? They have not played well. I mean, it's a lack of offense, but they're a surprising team. They're not in first place. They started off fucking 2-2 to start the sorry. It's 2-2 to start the year. Like, come on, guys, you guys got to get your shit together. You're trying to finish this season off and trying to have one last run at another Super Bowl potentially. This is not how you start the year. You're not in first place. The goddamn Dolphins are in first place. I know things have changed and you're starting to fucking start winning, but it's time to fucking play seriously and get your shit together. And the Steelers are the biggest disappointment of the NFL of the AFC this year because they're 1-2-1. A tie to the Browns. They've lost games. Their offense seems inept at times. They're not. Le'Veon Bell is holding out until week 7 after the bye week. It's turning into a goddamn disaster. The team's divided on the issue. Everyone's distracted. They're playing distracted football. It's a mess of an organization, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better till next season or in the off season. It's time to fucking start making moves. Maybe trade Le'Veon out of there. I don't know what the team's going to do. It's a mess. They've ruined their season. Good luck being a Steelers fan this year. Your team needs a lot of help. Maybe Dr. Phil should do a Spoiled Divas NFL edition. Anyway, that's the AFC surprises. The best one is obviously the Chiefs. That's pretty much the only good surprise. The rest of the AFC it's the AFC. We got like 3 or 4 good teams. The rest are trash. The Jaguars look great. That's not a surprise. Their defense looks just like it did last year. The Titans are a pretty big surprise at 3-1, but that's a bottom fallout. Or they're going to just get better depending on how Mariota responds to this offense. But now let's go over the NFC awards of the year. NFC MVP and Offensive Player of the Quarter. Obviously, he's going to go to Jared Goff when you see his numbers. There are spots where he is above and just below young Patrick Mahomes, so how can you not give him the award? He's got a better QBR. 97 out of 134 for 72.4% passer rating, 1,406 yards, 352 yards a game, 11 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions. Jared Goff's playing out of his mind again this season. His offense is designed to do that. It's a no-brainer. He wins the MVP and Offensive Player of the Year in the NFC this year, or this quarter, because of the fact that when you look at the rest of the numbers, it's not that great. It's abysmal for some of these other teams. Goff's running away with it at this point with the 4-0 team. They're blowing out other contender teams like the Vikings. Yeah, this is just overall he's having a great year like he should. Anything less than this would mean he wouldn't get the award, but that 72% completion percentage and that crispy 127.3 QBR and the 1,400 yards is really nice. Those are really high numbers, leads the NFL. So if I have to give Mahomes the award, I have to give Goff the award. No one else is really in contention for the MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. Maybe Ezekiel Elliott going forward, should the Cowboys make the playoffs and Ezekiel has a big year. Maybe he's in conversation because he is the heart and soul of that Cowboys team right now. But we'll have that conversation halfway through the year when more things are settled, when things are a little bit more clear of how the season's going to turn out. So anyway, yeah, that's my choice right now is Jared Goff to get the awards because he had the best first quarter in the NFC. Defensively, we're going to go with Chicago Bears newcomer and a linebacker, Khalil Mack. Wow, is he fucking good. And he's made the Bears, one fucking player coming to the Chicago Bears has made them the first place team, the biggest surprise of the NFC. One of the biggest surprises in pro football, in my opinion, is the fact that one guy in Khalil Mack has made this entire team better. He honestly could be in contention for the MVP against Goff right now. I actually had to consider that. But because of how well Goff's playing, I have to just give it to Khalil Mack on the defensive side. 4 straight games with a forced fumble and a sack. I mean, this guy's a monster. Look at this. He's obviously not going to have a ton of like actual tackles because he's like triple blocked, but he's got 3 assisted for a total of 14 and combined 17, 5 sacks for 30 yards lost, passes deflected. Remember how much Darius had? He had similar numbers to this, other than the fact he doesn't have a touchdown, interception return, or four forced fumbles. That's incredible. He's having a forced fumble caused in a sack a game, really disrupting the defense, really letting his presence be known. Khalil Mack's playing at Khalil Mack levels. He's playing on pace to get 16 forced fumbles and 16 sacks, which would be one of the craziest seasons I've ever even heard of. I mean, how could you not give Khalil Mack line player of the year, right? Defensive player of the year right now? No one comes close, and he's having a great year, leading the Bears right now to a 3-1 record, and that's great. That's exactly what Chicago gave up all those draft picks for, was this. And he's doing exactly what he's doing as he gets more comfortable in the Bears' schemes. He's doing better and better. And as he gets more wind into him, into better football shape, which he should be in now, it's paying dividends. Anyway, now let's go to NFC Rookie of the Year. Obviously, it's going to be Saquon Barkley. He's having a hell of a year. He has 56 rushes for 260 yards, averaging 4.6 yards a carry, and 65 yards a game, I believe that says. Yep. He has 3 rushing touchdowns, 27 receptions for 193 yards, and for an average of 7.1. He actually leads all rookie rushers and rookie pass catchers. He's actually the leading rookie pass catcher, I think, outside, like, for running backs anyway. I don't think he's better than Cameron Ridley. But he's doing fairly well. He's playing up to his potential. The Giants' offense is just terrible, but he's a big part of why they show flashes of being all right. And he's obviously the most media-friendly player, so it's going to be hard not for the voters to not vote for him should he continue on this pace to having a great year, a great breakout year. Yeah, he's doing great. I mean, he's showing flashes of extreme brilliance. Should the Giants need to improve the offensive line, and I think that Saquon Barkley will be in a lot better shape going forward. But that's a work in progress with New York, and that's just how it's going to be. Let's see. The biggest surprises that are good in the NFC, not the Rams. The Chicago Bears, obviously, for all the reasons I said, they're 3-1. Their defense looks unstoppable. That is something they can build on. Their offense is young and promising. Trubisky just had a fucking 6-touchdown game, breaking out sort of that shell that he was sort of figuratively in, which is nice to see. So the Bears are a very good surprise. Now we have some disappointments that are surprises out of the NFC. Let's talk about how bad the NFC South is, which, like, isn't Carolina 1-2? The Falcons are like 1-3. Tampa Bay's 2-2. Fucking the Saints are 3-1. Like, I projected that like only one team wasn't gonna make the playoffs out of the NFC South. Now it looks like only one team's gonna make the playoffs with a shitty ass record. That's kind of pathetic. The fact that there's only one good team in the NFC South with all that potential and talent on the Panthers, on Tampa Bay, on the other losers. Atlanta, especially. Atlanta is probably one of the most disappointing teams in football right now at 1-3. They have no real excuse to be that bad. Their team is stacked with offensive talent, stacked with defensive talent. I don't understand what the hell is going on. Maybe Matt Ryan isn't as good as we all thought. Another thing that's disappointing, I would say the NFC West, but when I actually think about it, it wasn't supposed to be that good. It's just a bad conference. The Cardinals are in really rough shape. The NFC East is also something that's really pathetic. The Redskins are in first place. The rest of the teams don't even play football, I don't think. I think they all just quit. They're all like 500 or worse. So that's that. The Super Bowl champions look like garbage. I mean, the NFC was supposed to be the best conference in football by far this year. And the biggest surprise of the year is that the AFC looks like a far better conference than the NFC finally. It finally looks at the AFC has more talent, has more evenly spread talent, because the only good team in the NFC right now is like the Rams. That's the only team that's probably going to the Super Bowl. All the other teams look like garbage in comparison to this Rams team, whereas in the AFC, you're not sure who's winning the AFC. That's the honest to God truth. That's the biggest surprise of this season. Is I think the power tides have finally changed. I think the AFC might actually be the better conference finally, at least a quarter of the way through this NFL season. Let's see. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start to wind this down here. Thank you so much for listening to my quarter season review. What we did was we went over um, teams' records, who are leading the division, who wins some awards, the biggest surprises of the year so far. So I hope you enjoyed this. Leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel and all that fun stuff. And catch the horror game I'm going to be playing on the channel tonight called Visage. I hope you enjoy that and you have a great day. See you later.